Feel the spray of salt on your lips and the steady creak of oaken planks as your pulse quickens. This is no ordinary journey. You are aboard a longship slicing through restless seas, guided only by the wisdom of the sun and stars. The dawn light spills gold across the deck as you steady yourself against the rolling swell. Below, row upon row of oars dip in unison, each tug driven by muscle, will, and the promise of distant lands. The dragon's head prow slices the morning haze, its carved jaws daring the waves to challenge your passage. Behind you, the shore recedes in jagged silhouettes. Home, family, hearth, all left behind in search of glory, wealth, or simply the thrill of the voyage. Though the oars thunder in your ears, your mind drifts to the navigators among you, those who read the sky's whispers and ocean's sighs. It is they who keep the ship true when calm gives way to tempest, when mist veils the horizon and fear claws at your heart. They know that a low-flying gannet heralds land ahead, that the color of foam betrays unseen currents, that the subtle tilt of the mast speaks of hidden winds. Their art is subtle, passed from one soul to the next, woven into every knot of rope and every plank of oak. As the sun climbs higher, you feel a shift in the air. The wind's voice grows sharp, encouraging you onward. On deck, the crew's chants rise and fall, a rhythmic backbone to your passage. Each song invokes Odin's favor, Freya's courage, Thor's strength. You join the chorus, your voice trembling at first, then carrying firm across the water. In that moment, you are bound by fate and song, a living oar in the grand tapestry of Viking voyaging. By midday, the horizon flickers with promise. High gulls wheel above, screaming their welcome. Far ahead, a green tongue of land emerges, dotted with dark pines and rocky cliffs. Your heart tightens, anticipation and relief in equal measure. Soon you will tread new soil, trade for silver and spices, or perhaps clash steel with those who stand in your path. Yet each voyage begins and ends on deck, in the space between oar and mast. Here, you learn the ship's language, the way it groans under strain, the shudder when waves batter its flanks, the hush of calm when wind and water rest in uneasy truce. You learn that a longship breathes with its crew, lives through their sweat and song. And you learn, above all, that the sea demands respect, offense brings ruin, humility brings safe harbor. As the shoreline grows, you steel yourself for what lies ahead. The uncharted trails through wild forests, the clink of foreign coins, the laughter of strangers whose tongues twist strange upon your ears. Yet the true journey is this: the endless hours at sea, the communion with wind and wave, the knowledge that with every stroke of the oar you carry the spirit of your people into the unknown. And so, with a final chant to the gods, you ready to land, your longship dancing upon the foam. The voyage does not end here. It transforms into new adventures, new stories to be sung around the hearth. But for now, you stand upon the deck, heart full of salt and song, a chosen soul on a timeless path across the world's wild currents. Your boot presses into damp sand, the hull's keel grating softly as the tide draws back. A hush falls over the crew, broken only by the distant call of seabirds and the slap of gentle surf. You step forward, the coarse grains of shore grounding you after days adrift. Each man and woman stretches limbs stiffened by hours at oar, faces lifted to examine the new land. Here, the air carries a scent of pine resin and wildflowers, strange and invigorating after endless salt and spray. You follow the gangplank ashore, heart pounding with that familiar mix of trepidation and exhilaration. A handful of scouts advance along the beach, eyes scanning for hostile signs, or, ideally, a welcoming beacon of trade. Their silent signals pass messages with the precision of practiced hands. One finger raised for open ground, fists drawn when tall grasses suggest ambush, two hands cupped to indicate fresh water. Together, you press inland, the longship's dragon-head prow looming behind as a talisman carved by your shipmaster's own hands. Beyond the dune, a shallow stream trickles through pebbles, its clear water a promise of respite. Kneeling, you cup the glacier cold flow to your lips, feeling its chill against sunburned skin. Around you, others draw water in wooden buckets, murmuring thanks to Njord, god of the sea, whose favor is essential if you are to press deeper into this unknown territory. You fill skins and chests, mindful that every supply will feed you, and perhaps another voyage home. The world here is different. Tree trunks knot together in ancient groves, their bark mottled like sea-worn shields. Birds whip through shafts of sunlight, and small animals scuttle in underbrush. You have landed in what appears to be a neutral territory, neither occupied by rival warriors nor fully tamed by farmers. The potential for plunder or barter hangs in the air like ripe fruit. You glance at the scouts signaling back, two fingers raised, meaning harvest or goods to take. Ahead, you glimpse smoke spiraling above a clearing, the promise of settlement. Steeling yourself, you approach a stockade of timbered huts. A cluster of villagers, men in rough woven tunics, women carrying baskets of grain, emerge at the sight of dragon-headed shields. Their eyes widen, some fists tighten around wooden staffs. You raise open palms to show peace, speaking soft words in broken tongue. The leader, a tall woman with iron hair braided over her shoulder, steps forward. Between you flows the slow dance of negotiation. You offer iron axe heads and woven cloth. She offers wool, honey, and perhaps guidance to richer lands inland. Once trade is settled, and skins and chests brim with salted fish and golden barley, you glimpse what makes these voyages more than raids, the forging of connections. In the glow of evening fires, you share mead and stories. A bard among your company tunes a simple lyre, weaving sagas of gods and heroes. The villagers lean forward, faces lit by flickering flames, as the melodies rise and fall like distant waves. Children imitate your chant of spear shouts, trying to confident voice the call of Valkyries. Laughter rings beneath a burgeoning moon. Yet under the fireside warmth lies an awareness. Dawn will call you back to the longship. Supplies must be loaded, wounds tended, and rites performed to placate the spirits of sea and land. That night, unable to sleep, you wander to the edge of camp. The longship, silhouetted against the silver tide, seems to pulse with memory. Each plank recalls storms weathered, each oar socket holds echoes of countless pulls. You run a hand along the dragon's crest, imagining the beasts of Jotunheim snarling beneath those carved jaws. When morning light bleeds gold across the horizon, Your crew is already marching out, heavy bundles strapped over shoulders. You gather the last of the barrels, mutton salted in brine, sacks of barley, flasks of mead infused with juniper. In the sky, ravens wheel, as if bearing tidings to Odin's hall. You pause, reach for a carved token of Thor, a small hammer of iron. Fingers brush its worn surface, a prayer for safe crossing. Then you turn toward the shoreline, each step a promise to the longship that bore you here. Sea greets you like an old friend, gentle at first, then simmering beneath the rising sun. You climb aboard, hefting provisions into the hold. The oars slip into thole pins with that familiar click, muscles already flexing in anticipation. A chant rises, slow and sonorous, invoking Vanir and Aesir alike. Odin Erd's Wellkeeper, grant a sight, Njord of ship and sail, bless our flight. The rhythm catches, spreading across bow and stern, until the whole crew resonates like a single instrument. The ship glides away from land, the wind catching the sail. A vast cloth of rabbit skins stitched into a spiral pattern reminiscent of Yggdrasil itself. You lean into the breeze, feeling the bow lift over rolling swells. Soon, the shoreline becomes a thin green line across blue waves, then vanishes. Ahead, endless sea beckons, and the next horizon shimmers with possibility. Days pass in the company of salt and spray. You rise with the dawn, singing the same chants to awaken muscle memory for hauling oars. When storms gather, you lash the sail, secure loose gear, and pray to the thunder god to drive the tempest aside. Each trial at sea is a lesson in unity. One oar falters, and the ship yawns, one voice cracks, and the chorus falters. But when all move as one, the longship becomes unstoppable, a living creature born on collective breath. Between oar strokes, you glimpse wonders. One twilight, a pod of porpoises cavorts beneath the hull, silver arcs of joy, dancing and harp like glints. You drop anchor to bathe in an inlet where seals sun themselves on flat rocks. At times, whales spout in the distance, their great silhouettes gliding in the deep, reminders that seas hold mysteries deeper than any fjord. The final dusk of your return voyage arrives. Clouds roil orange and purple as the longship enters familiar waters. The scent of pine drifts on the breeze. You awaken the village's watch. Lanterns bob in the gloom, and you hear distant shouts of welcome. Families who feared your loss now rejoice. Children clutch fresh bread to greet you. Wives and husbands open arms first at prow, then along each oarsman's path. Stepping ashore, you feel the solid earth beneath you once more. The dragon's head tipples onto sand scraped smooth by countless landings. You help tie the hull to timber posts, then embrace kin whose couches were cold while you chased horizons. In the hall, ale flows as free as laughter. You recount the voyage, how gulls guided you, how storms tested you, how strangers became friends. The tales stretch into night, a retelling richer than the last. Yet even in hearth's glow, your eyes drift to the window overlooking the fjord. You know that once the mead mellows in your bones, the sea will call again. There are more lands to find, more cultures to touch, more longships to sail. And each time you answer that call, you carry with you the nearest truth. That life at sea is a tapestry woven from courage, song, and salt. It is a passage between worlds, land and water, past and future, myth and memory. So rest now, weary traveler, knowing that the longship sleeps on her keel, oars stowed and sail furled. But her spirit never rests. It waits beneath your dreams, ready to stir at the hint of wind. And when you awaken, with spine straight and breath steady, you will feel again that pulse, the heartbeat of adventure, echoing across timeless waves.